Hello and welcome to the Skyball HU channel, and today this is a $500 gaming PC build. So for $500, if you're wondering, this is going to run a lot of games out there at ultra settings, medium settings, or even high settings. For high-end games such as Battlefield 4, this will definitely run at ultra settings, I can assure you that. But for a lot of other feature games such as Grand Theft Auto 5 or pretty much any other high-end AAA title, this will run it really well. This has really good components inside of it that are going to last you a really long time, and surprisingly for $500, this is going to do really well for you budget gamers who want to play just pretty much any game you want to at the highest settings at 1080p. So to start the build, this is the MSI 970A G43 AM3 Plus motherboard. This is the this is an AM3 Plus motherboard with the 970 North bridge, and also it is by MSI, which make really good motherboards. And if you're wondering how this is going to do in gaming, pretty much this will do perfectly fine because it gives you everything that you need to do. Basically, it gives you quad shell RAM if you want to ever expand your RAM or have just a regular amount of gigs. And then it'll allow you to overclock your RAM up to 2133 megahertz if you want to overclock your processor in order to do that. It has plenty of audio ports, I/O ports such as USB 3.0, 2.0, and this has two-way crossfire if you want to grab two graphics cards and put it in there. And this has plenty of Sata 6 ports to give you the fastest SATA read speeds, and overall this is a really good motherboard for $50. Now for the processor, this is the AMD FX 6300 6-core processor. So this is an AMD processor, and it is 95 watts, which is a pretty good wattage. It's clocked at 3.5 gigahertz, and it will turbo boost up to 4.1. Not to mention that you can even overclock this to go over 4.1 with that motherboard with having the 970 North bridge. And for only $120, this is really good and has a 5-star review on Newegg, so this is going to do just really well. 6 cores is the sweet spot. So pretty much today, games are utilizing quad cores. In the future, we'll soon utilize more cores, and this will make sure that future games will be able to utilize those 2 extra cores in this 6-core processor. And overall, this is just one of the highest awarded processors out there for gaming. Now for the RAM, this is the Kingston HyperX Black 8GB RAM. So this is a dual channel kit with a cast latency of 9 at a speed of 1600 MHz. This is basically the standard. This will give you pretty good performance for gaming, as that it has 8GB of RAM, which is pretty much all you will ever need. Even in games that are really high end, I've only seen my system, even myself, having 8 gigs of RAM, only utilizing at the most 6 gigs. So this will do perfectly fine because plenty of other games out there probably don't even utilize 8 gigs and probably still kind of stick around the 4GB range. And not to mention, this is at a pretty good decent speed. You can overclock this if you decide to overclock your processor. And Kingston just make really good RAM, really good, pretty much anything in memory in general are made really nicely by Kingston. Now for the graphics card, this is the brand new MSI R9 270X gaming graphics card. So this is by MSI, and this is the brand new R9 270X. So if you're wondering how will this perform in games, this will do exponentially well. In big titles like Battlefield 4, in even having really high anti-aliasing and motion blur and all the ultra settings on, this still performs at 1080p over 40 FPS, which is pretty outstanding for a $200 graphics card meant to be for value, while it still performs really high end. And this beats the previous 7870 and 7050 by a long shot, and even performs up to a 7950. So this right now is probably the best bang for your buck graphics card. But just overall, this is a really nice graphics card. It has HDMI out, so you can just use HDMI and plenty of other ports. And this is also an MSI graphics card, and it will fit also with your motherboard since it's also MSI. And this also has a really high boost clock speed. And this, of course, is by MSI, so they are allowing you to use their MSI overclocking program, so you can overclock your core clock to a pretty high amount. Not mentioning that's basically what MSI wants everyone to do with their graphics cards, because they have a long history of people like overclocking the crap out of their graphics cards. But anyway though, now for the hard drive. This is the Western Digital Blue 1TB hard drive. I basically recommend this in every single one of my budget builds. 1TB is all you ever need. This has SATA 6 at 6GB speeds, and this is in a 3.5 form factor, so this will fit in your case, of course. And just overall for $60 is the best hard drive you can get out there, and I completely recommend this hard drive if you are ever going to build another gaming PC or pretty much anything else This will boot up your OS in a decent amount of time, and pretty much even just having games on it, there's no difference in loading times. I have all my games stored on my hard drive and all my programs stored on my SSD, and loading of games such as LoL, Battlefield, or anything else takes a decent amount of time. I don't have to wait super long, nor does it boot up in like 2 seconds, but actually having games on this is actually pretty fast. And now for the power supply, this is the Corsair CX 430 watt power supply. So this has 430 watts, which is the most you'll probably ever need, since the estimated wattage of this build is 375 watts. This will hold your graphics card and even your overclock processor, if you do say. And also this is $20, which is really good for a 430 watt power supply. And it is modular and 80 plus bronze, so this is just a really good value power supply by Corsair, which make really good products in general. And now finally for the case is the Thermaltake Commander Series White Black ATX Mid-Tower Computer Case. So for $35, this is a really good and really nice looking ATX Mid-Tower. It has a really nice white and black kind of stormtrooper look with a really nice snazzy looking window. And overall, just the internals inside of it look really nice with this really nice black interior. And not to mention, it has a bit of cable management, which is also handy. And this has plenty of 5.25 inch and 3.5 inch bays to store your hard drives, SSDs, or any other sort of DVD drives. And this overall is just a really nice looking case from Thermaltake and made of really nice quality. Even I have a case from Thermaltake, and it is held up for a really long time. And this is just going to be a really nice looking case for your gaming PC. So that is the whole build, and so for $500, this is a really good gaming PC, I have to admit. This will run a lot of the newest titles out there at ultra settings, even with anti-aliasing and motion blur even counted in with that. And overall, will just be a really good, valuable, stable gaming PC for you to use for a really long time. And you probably will not have to upgrade this for a really long time too.